Today, we're going to talk about 3 more things you should be looking at when interviewing a contractor, and pay close attention because nobody else is going to tell you this stuff. So the first thing you want to look for when you're interviewing a contractor is when you check their license number. So why does this matter? Contractors' license numbers are issued sequentially. So if you have a contractor that's been in business for a long time, his contractor's license number is going to start with an 8 or a 9 or even a 10. Why does that matter? Well, the second highest failure rate for businesses behind restaurants is actually construction. So if his license number starts with a 11, 12, 13, then unless the license was reissued, he just started his business. So the odds are he's not going to make it through the first year. I think it's like almost 60% of construction businesses fail after year 1. And then of those that make it into year 2, 3, 4, 5, it's another 40% or so that fail then. So, and I'll go into reasons for that later. But it's just important to know that you want a contractor with longevity who's been in the business for a long time, and looking at their license number is a way to help you determine that. So the second thing you want to look into when interviewing a contractor is you want to see what sort of investment they've made in themselves. What do I mean by that, and why does it matter? It matters because you got to ask yourself, if he hasn't invested in himself, why should you invest in him? So things to look for are, what kind of truck is he driving? Is it like an old 2003 Toyota with dents all over the place and paint, or is he driving a nice truck? Does he have like a truck wrap or some decals on his truck, or is it just one of those flimsy magnets that he sticks on the door? Does he own any equipment beyond just a shop vac? Does he have a dump trailer? Does he have an excavator or something like that? Why does this matter? Because it tells you about longevity and his projection for his business. If he's not willing to invest in himself, buy equipment, get a nice truck, something that's reliable, then he doesn't see himself being in business for long, and that's a huge red flag. The third thing you want to pay attention to when interviewing a contractor is who pays for materials. If a contractor, in the first conversation you have with him, if he's suggesting that you buy materials, that's a huge red flag. And I'll tell you why. Because as a general contractor, one of the biggest issues is cash flow. So if you have a contractor and he's asking you to pay for materials, he most likely doesn't have good credit, or he doesn't have capitalization to float the job for a little while. Those are problematic. They can be problematic for several reasons. See the first 2 things I told you to pay attention to, but it also speaks to character, in my opinion. So to recap, 3 things you need to pay attention to. Number 1 is license number. A lower license number is better. Number 2, is that contractor investing in themselves? And number 3, who pays for materials? And now you know.